of love. This episode is going to be specifically for my mamas, which is majority of my audience anyway. And I really want to talk about how it is my humble belief that mums are the foundation of the household. When we are supporting ourselves, giving to ourselves, prioritizing our mental, physical, emotional well being, we show up as a better mum, but also a better partner, friend, colleague, whatever it is. We are our best selves or our better selves when we are giving to ourselves first. And I know the saying is very cliche, you can't pour from an empty cup, but it is incredibly accurate, whether we like it or not. So when you, mama, are nourished in your own love, your family breathes differently. What I mean by that is that your kids feel it, your partner feels it. The whole family dynamic shifts. I don't know if you've experienced this, but when I'm in a mood, my partner's in a mood. And sometimes when he's in a mood, I can be in a mood. But generally, I can still show up as a better mum, for example. But I can only do that when I am full and have been giving to myself. I tend to be more impacted by my partner's actions when I'm not feeling really good in myself or I'm feeling depleted, like I've been overgiving, for example. I will notice that that is when I tend to be more impacted by my partner not being in a great mood. Because women are the foundation. We always have been. We are the nurturers generally. And if you aren't, perhaps there is a little bit of work for you to do there. I know when I am not feeling very nurturing towards my children, it's less about them and more about me. And I'm actually going to give you an example of where it might look like it's them because I now have a 12, almost 10-year-old, 9-year-old, and a 4-year-old at time of this recording. And just recently, both my partner and I were just feeling incredibly resentful towards them, how lazy they were, how they weren't respecting the things that they had. They would just drop things on the floor. They wouldn't clean up after themselves, even though they had been doing a really good job. And we do family meetings. And so we got all the kids together. It had been probably 2 months in between meetings. And that, again, is on us, actually, not them. They're children. Okay. And yes, they might know better, but it is our job to ensure that we are following through, that ensuring that they are following through, that they are holding themselves to high standards. So we sat down at this family meeting and ultimately we expressed how we were feeling and that we were feeling resentful. And I was feeling like I didn't even really want to spend time with them. I didn't really want to be that nurturing mum, and it's because I was feeling resentful. And so it's a bit of both, right? The older three are definitely old enough to have an understanding that their actions impact other people, but it's our job to remind them. It's our job to ensure that they are showing up in thoughtful ways, considering other people, understanding that their things are not a given, like their technology isn't something that they get just because they exist. I mean, it is, but it's also because we bought it for them. So we need to take care of our things. But I wasn't feeling that nurturing because I wasn't speaking up. I, at the core, have felt as though for a very long time, it is my job to just give and give and give to these kids because I've been so scared that I was going to fuck them up, that I was going to traumatize them. And I've seen this happen a lot where we have had, us mums have had crappy upbringings. And over the last probably 10 years in particular, we've become a lot more aware of the impact of trauma. And we have been so scared of recreating the same experience for our own children that we have pendulum swung to the other end of the spectrum, where it's gone from maybe a dictatorship type household to the opposite, where there are little boundaries, where there's minimal discipline or consequences. I have even heard of parents not telling their children no, which, in my opinion, is extremely harmful because life is not all rainbows and sunshine. It is rough sometimes, and it is actually our job to ensure that we are building them up to have resilience and grit. It is not our job to be their best friend. It is our job to support them to be emotionally, mentally mature adults that can thrive on their own, that ideally are not dependent on other people to feel good enough or worthy. And so, yeah, being a parent is just really exhausting sometimes. It feels like you repeat yourself a lot. But I realized from that example about being resentful and not wanting to really spend time with my kids and be that nurturing mum, that it was less about them and more about my lack of even feeling like I deserved their help around the house because I have this wound that I have to earn love. And it's not just that black and white. There's also elements of I'm sick and tired of repeating myself. But there weren't consequences of any kind by them being, I don't know, lazy, careless with their things. I mean, they have been, but then it kind of tapers away and we get slack with it. We're not following through as much. We have a reward system of sorts in our house, and we weren't really following through with that. And that's on us, on me, on my partner, not really the kids. But we still sat down, shared how we felt, because they don't know if they don't know. We were really honest with them. And from that day forward, they have definitely been a lot more thoughtful, more respectful, pulling their weight better. And they have their moments. But they too are human. So we cannot expect perfection. But this is why I am so profoundly big on encouraging you all to see how the external world is just a mirror of your internal reality, of your internal world, of your subconscious beliefs, of your trauma, wounding. Because if you don't believe that you deserve support or it's your job to do all the cleaning, you getting resentful or pissed off at your family or partner, your kids, it's not their fault. They are just mirroring back to you what you actually believe about yourself. And like I said, a lot of things aren't necessarily clear cut and super black and white. It can be what's being mirrored inside of you. And also, life is just gonna life sometimes, you know? Kids are gonna do what kids are gonna do. But if we can live our lives from this place of curiosity, and it's not from a place of blaming ourselves or making ourselves wrong, it's more about getting curious about what is being mirrored back to us, how our inner world is impacting our external world, how we show up for our kids, how we show up in our relationship. Why aren't we taking better care of ourselves? Why is it that we always say we don't have enough time, but we're choosing to clean the house over rest? Or we're choosing to do the grocery shopping on our own through the week. It could be done on the weekend or with your partner, or your partner could do it, but instead you do it so that you can walk around saying, I don't have time. I don't have time to look after me. Maybe you tend to slip into martyrdom. No, with the kids and with the housework and with work, and I just don't have time. And that can be pretty valid, but you're telling me that in a span of 24 hours, you can't take 5 minutes to just go put your feet in the grass and breathe and ground. Because that could be one way to help you fill up your cup. You don't need to take a whole weekend or a whole day. Yes, you can, and that it might be what you need. But if perhaps it's not that simple or it's not doable in this season of your life, you find small moments if that's all you can squeeze in. But you have to make the time. Find the damn time. Schedule it in. Set an alarm. Or don't. But don't expect anything to change, because the person that has gotten you to this point will not get you to where you want to be. If mum is pouring from an empty cup, of course she's not going to be showing up as her best self. And that destabilizes the entire household. Your partner will feel it. Your children will feel it. And I don't say this to shame you. If you feel shamed, that is a reflection of you, because I hold no judgment, especially because the examples I gave have been me. There is no need to shame yourself. You know, if you don't know better, you can't do better. And even if you know better, I know better and I still slip. But I am human. You are human. That is unavoidable. So instead of having shame, have compassion. How can you have compassion for yourself? Of, you know what, I have done my best, but maybe I get to do better moving forward. But we don't look at the past and make ourselves wrong. Trust me, my eldest is 12 years old, and I would have loved to have been a much more present, calmer mum than I have been at times. I have been such a perfectionist for a very long time. And so I wanted to be a perfect mum for a very long time. And I never will be. And you know what? I know I have fucked up my kids in some way, shape, or form. I absolutely know it. And frankly, I have made peace with that, because my goal is actually now to focus on providing them with the tools to support themselves, so that later on, when they are adults and they're triggered, they can actually hold themselves through it instead of wanting to suppress it or run from it or become a victim. That is my goal more than anything. It's not to be their best friend. It's not to always be liked. You know, we have a very blended family. My eldest two kids have a stepmom, a stepdad, a mum and a dad, and a half brother. I mean, to them, he's just their brother, but a half brother. And they have a stepsister and a half sister. And my stepdaughter has a stepmom, a mum and a dad, two step siblings, and a half sister. Right? So our family is so blended. And my kids have said to me, I love dad more. And I'm like, well, that's nice, isn't it? I mean, you know, he has them generally his fortnightly weekend. And so I'm with them like 80% of the time. So yeah, they're going to definitely get a grumpier mum at times, less patient mum, more than they might get that from dad. And there have been on occasion that it's hurt a little bit. And I mean, I've gotten to the point of telling them it's an unkind thing to say. You don't need to even bring it up. Keep it to yourself. It's unnecessary. But generally, I'm just like, yep, okay. I'm not here to be your best friend. That's not my job. I am here to ensure you have boundaries, that you don't grow up entitled, that you lean into discomfort and have courage and do brave things. And I don't shy them away from the real world. I mean, sometimes I might share it in an age appropriate way, absolutely. But I do not pretend that bad stuff doesn't happen, that there aren't shitty people out there, because there are, because that's life. And actually, with my eldest son, he's 12 and he is very emotionally intelligent. And we can have some very deep conversations about human behavior. And by being able to have these conversations with him, I can see how he is growing into this young man that is aware that his actions impact people, who wants to do better for himself, for others, for sure, and that isn't afraid to cry or express something that he wants or needs. I absolutely see sometimes a people pleaser come out in him. It bothers me. I do believe it comes from potentially early years when I was with his dad. There was a lot of yelling back then. And, we want our children to show up in a particular way, to not challenge us, because it's just hard and exhausting sometimes, like it really is. But it isn't their job to please us, to never push our buttons, because ultimately they are just mirroring something back to us more often than not, anyway. It's a mirror when it is activating to our nervous systems and we're feeling things. Whether it is judgment, it is more about you than them. Whether it's resentment, it's more about you than them. So, coming back to filling our cup, what if that was your main focus in life? Or at least for a little while, just to change things up and see what happens. What if you took the pressure off trying to nail parenting, trying to nail being a partner, keeping the house spotless, yada yada? And what if you focused more on giving back to yourself first? What might happen? Why don't you fuck around and find out for a little bit? You probably will organically be a better mum because you will have more patience. You will be able to be more nurturing. You will be able to problem solve better. Your relationship will benefit. And I encourage you to work on the personal development side of things within filling your own cup. And I guess what I mean by that is that filling your own cup isn't just bubble baths and you time. It's how are you supporting your mental and emotional well-being? Do you need to develop some new tools to support yourself through challenging times or just harder days? Do you need to implement a morning practice of some kind so that you're waking up and doing something nourishing and giving to you? So you're starting off the day on a better note. Like, what is it that you need to support yourself better? Do you need to make more effort in your appearance? Do you need to go for a walk? Do you need to go back to gym? Do you need to start nourishing your body better, your temple better? And it's not about trying to nail all areas perfectly, but it's starting, because the micro changes make up the macro more often than not. It is the little changes, the little shifts that can have actually the most profound impact, because it all compounds. It's very rarely just one thing. It's a multitude of things. There is no magic pill for life. There just isn't. But it's you needing to have courage to lean into doing things differently, which might be uncomfortable. But discomfort can become comfortable. But it takes repetition, practice, doing it over and over again. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So it is my hope that this episode has potentially opened up your eyes to the importance of prioritizing yourself. So often parents place their children above themselves. And I personally think that that is detrimental. Does that mean 100% of the time you place yourself above your children? Absolutely not. That's not realistic. Sometimes our kids need us before we can give to ourselves. But if that is always the case, there's going to be problems. You are not going to be showing up as your best self. Your kids are important, but self-sacrificing is not teaching them that they're important as they grow up, that they need to prioritize themselves. It's teaching them that they should people please. More often than not, kids do what we do, what they see, not what we say. We got to walk the talk. So, how can you role model to them that when they are adults, that they prioritize themselves, that they do matter? You do that by showing them that you matter. You deserve respect. You show people, including your children, you teach them how to treat you. You show people how to treat you. If you don't have boundaries, or if people have overstepped a boundary and you don't do anything, you don't follow through, and you allow that to keep happening, that's on you. You deserve respect. If your children don't respect you, do something about it. Now, I am very blessed with the children I have. Does that come down to my parenting though? I don't know. I don't know. But they still push my buttons. They're still children, okay? And they're not perfect. I'm certainly not perfect. And so I know I want to also, I guess, honor that not everyone's experience in parenthood or motherhood is like mine. And perhaps I am privileged in ways. But if we continue looping in that kind of mindset, oh, well, she's got it better than me, then nothing is going to change. It's about finding new ways, better ways to support yourself, which will in turn support your children. So that is it for today's episode. Please give this podcast some love. I would be so grateful. Otherwise, I will see you in next week's episode. Ciao!